Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm your friend Arman. So today in this video we're gonna learn another topic of the law of tort, that is defamation. So what is defamation, what are its characteristics, what are its essentials, important case laws, its remedies, its exceptions, everything we will learn in this video. So please watch this video till the end. But before I begin, I want to tell you one thing, that if you are preparing for the Assam Judicial Services while at home just like me, then you can follow me on my Instagram, that is Optimistic Wind, where you can discuss with me, or where you can ask me for like how to prepare and everything. I have created a playlist on the YouTube in my channel. You can visit there and you will find the playlist for the Assam Judicial Service. I have given everything detailed, what are the books which are important, and what are the things that you need to do, and what are the things that you have to avoid. So everything I have given there. So please watch this video, and I hope that you will find that video helpful to you. So without any further delay, let's start our today's topic. So guys, today's topic is defamation. So what is defamation? So defamation is the injury to the reputation of the person. Okay, causing injury to the reputation of the person, or causing harm. All right, so reputation is what? Every person has the right to reputation. Reputation is the status of a particular person in the society. Okay, so that is status, and when someone interferes with the status of that person, or try to do anything which is prejudice to that person, or which is harmful, or you say like that is derogatory. If I comment certain derogatory statement to the another person, then that will be what? That will be a defamatory statement towards that person, and that will be what? That will be altogether as defamation. So what is defamation now? So defamation, so every person has the right to reputation, okay, and we should respect that. We cannot like just because we have a mouth to speak and we have the right to speech and expression, we cannot say anything to anybody. Okay, so every person has the right to reputation, so we have to respect that. Okay, so you can say a right to reputation. Right to reputation is a property and if possible even more than a property. Even more than a property. Okay, it was coined in the case of Dixon versus Holden. Dixon versus Holden, 1869. So whenever you are thinking of to write your answer with regarding the defamation, you should start with this case law. Okay, like you can give this case law in your introduction part. Okay, so right to reputation is a property, and if possible even more than a property. Okay, so it was decided in the case of Dixon versus Holden. Okay, so defamation, if we see so defamation is both civil and criminal wrong. Okay, so defamation is both civil and criminal wrong. Okay, and you can say, since we have been provided under our constitution under article 19 that right, freedom of speech and expression, right? So you can say defamation is an antithesis to that right of fundament, and to that right guaranteed under article 19. Okay, so in other words, you can say defamation is a reasonable restriction of fundamental right to speech and expression. Right to speech and expression. Okay. And where it is guaranteed? Where we will find right to speech and expression? We'll find in Article 19. Article 19 clause 1. Sorry, not clause 1. We will find reasonable restriction 19(1)(a), that is under 19(1)(a), and it is like we find the right to freedom of speech and expression in 19 clause 2. Okay. All right. So even if we are provided right freedom of speech and expression, we are also being restricted to an extent, by providing the reasonable restrictions, that like every person is restricted to not to defame any other person. Okay, so this is our, you can say, the fundamental right of freedom of speech and expression is also guaranteeing certain imposing certain duties to the person to respect the other person's reputation. Okay, so that's what it is. So these things are important and you need to write it while writing the answer regarding this topic. Okay, so now two things are important. Okay, libel and slander. Libel and slander. Okay, so in English law, okay, in English law, so if all the principles of the law of tort is derivation of the English law only, so that's why libel and slander are two different kind of defamation. Okay, but in India there is no differentiation between the libel and slander. So what is libel and what is slander, that we are going to look at now. So libel is so libel is, you can say it is a representation of any kind, anything, you can say representation of anything in the form of in permanent form such as written statement or you can say FEC or writing, FEC, printing, making cartoon, etc. Okay, etc. Okay, so this kind of representation, okay, like representation of any kind of representation in the permanent form, okay, which may be written or FEC, printing, cartoon making, etc. Okay, this could be anything. So in any of these means, if a person tries to injure the reputation of the another person, so that will be called as libel. Okay, so on the other hand slander is what? Slander is also a defamatory statement, but which is made in the transient form. Okay, which is made in the transient form. That means by speaking Example, by speaking, by spoken word, by spoken word, spreading rumors, by spreading rumors, and by using gestures, by gestures, etc. Okay, so so as we have seen that in case of the libel, there is a permanent form of the defamatory statement, and that is published. Okay, that is published. So in the case of the libel, there is a printing form or something written, or like you can say that is documented in the example of, if you see in the context of the Evidence Act, then it will be like the permanent document. Okay, like in the documentary form, like effigy, printing, making cartoon, written statement, all these things are what? A document. Okay, all things are documented. So these things are documented. Whenever you need, you can see them, right? You have a full proof that yes, these things are very defamatory statement regarding me. So yeah, so you can produce all these things to the court or anywhere you want. Okay, but in case of the slander, it is what? It is in the transient form. It is just by words spoken. Like suppose I said, like, he is a thief, he has stolen properties, he is a murderer. So if I make certain kind of statement about the person, and I haven't written anywhere, and if I circulate that thing by my mouth to someone else, so this will be what? So this will be a slander. Okay, this is not in the permanent form, it is in the transient form. Okay, so you can say the libel is addressed to the eyes. Okay, libel addressed to the eyes, addressed to eyes, that means which we can see. Libel we can see, like we can see cartoons, we can see effigy, printing, and all these things. Effigy, do you know what is the meaning of effigy? Effigy means creating a dummy of a person. Okay, for like dummy, like we have seen in the news channels everywhere, that there are some politicians whose dummy was being created by the public or by any person, and which is being burned on the roadside. So this thing that will be that dummy will be called, dummy is known as effigy. Okay, so libel is addressed to the eyes, and slander is addressed to what? It's addressed to ears. So it is only hearing things. Okay, like hearsay things. I said something, he heard something, and that is defamatory. So that is slander, and libel is addressed to the eyes, that we can see. Okay, we can see, we can read. So that is libel and slander. And in England, libel is a civil and criminal wrong. Okay, criminal wrong, civil and criminal wrong. But slander is only what? Is only civil wrong. Okay, the slander is only civil wrong. Okay, so in England there is a distinction between the libel and slander. Both libel and slander, both of these things are defamatory statement or defamatory thing, and which is causing defamation to the another person. So another person means the plaintiff. So in case of the libel is civil as well as the criminal wrong in the England also, but the slander is civil wrong. Slander is civil wrong, but there is an exception. Okay, there is an exception regarding this slander, that in what are the in certain situation, in certain circumstances, you can say slander. In certain circumstances, slander is not only civil wrong. Not only civil wrong. In certain circumstances, slander is not only civil wrong, it is also criminal wrong. criminal wrong. So what are those situations, or what are those kind of wrongs which will be counted as a criminal wrong under slander? Okay, there is a blasphemy. I think you have heard about it. Blasphemy is spelling B. Blasphemy, or say blasphemous, and number 2 seditious, sedition, seditious statement, blasphemous statement, seditious statement, and number 3 obscene, contempt of court. So yeah, so in case of the blasphemous statement, seditious statement, obscene statement, contempt of court, so in 4 situation a slander is a criminal wrong. Okay, so what is blasphemous statement? Blasphemous statement is a statement which is made to the religious things. Okay, so if let's suppose I, with an intention to hurt the other person's religion, what I did, I made certain statement to their God, okay, to their prophet. Like if I say something about their God and which has hurt the emotions of the other person, so that is what? That is a blasphemous statement. So a statement which is relating to the religious or say sacred thing. Okay, a blasphemous statement is always mean that a statement which is made in derogation, or which is derogatory for the other person's religion, or for the other person's faith. Okay, and seditious, that you know it very well, that seditious, which is against the country. If I made certain statement like which is against the country, suppose if I am standing in being a citizen of India, if I say certain like if I utter certain sentences which is seditious, such as like I don't want to say that, you can figure out. Okay, so seditious sentences which is against the government, or against the sovereignty, against the country, so that is seditious. Okay, there is a certain like cases, recent cases that is relating to the seditious statement, like Kanhaiya Kumar case, and Honeypreet case. So many more. Okay, many more. So they are, I think, recent one. So these are the the seditious statement. And obscene, you know it. What is obscene? Which is, I don't want to explain it, you know it. Okay, so what is obscene thing? And the contempt of court. And if I say certain things to the if I say or utter very contemptuous words for the decision of the court, or if I make cartoons to the judges of the court, so that will be contempt of court. Okay, so in certain cases slander is also criminal wrong, but another cases, but apart from this, slander is only civil wrong. Okay, not criminal wrong. So now so this is the like distinction between slander and libel. So libel is addressed to the eyes and slander is addressed to the ears. Okay, but in India, the Indian law does not make any differentiation between the libel and slander. Both libel and slander is a criminal as well as the civil wrong in India. Okay, so now we will see the essentials of defamation. So essentials of defamation. Number 1, we have the word must be false and defamatory. Number 2, the said word must refer to the plain. The said word must refer to the plaintiff Number 3, okay. So the essentials of the defamations are the words must be false and defamatory. Okay, whatever the things is stated by the defendant, that must be false and defamatory. Okay, and number two thing is that the said words must be referred to the plaintiff. Okay, it should be for the plaintiff, it should not be for someone else. Okay, suppose if I am filing a suit against the statement of the defendant, so that the statement which is made by the defendant is not for me, is for someone else, then I cannot file a suit for that. Okay, I cannot say that that statement was for me. Okay, so in order to constitute the defamation, number one is thing that the statement must be false and defamatory, and that defamatory and false statement must be made to the plaintiff. Okay, and third number is thing that the words must be published. Okay, it should be published in the sense of it could be printed, it could be like visualized, or it could be said or spreaded like rumors. Okay, it is not necessary that this could be libel or slander, anything. Okay, that's what it means. Okay, so these are the essentials to constitute the defamation, and in the if the three things are present in a case, then that is called defamation. Okay, so there is a case law, Cassidy versus, and this case law is important. You need to write while writing the answer. So that is a Cassidy versus Daily Mirrors newspapers. Daily Mirrors newspapers related 1929. So in this case, the court has opined that in this case, what happened, the court has opined that when the person thinks that whatever the defamatory statement which is being spoken, or which is being visualized, or whatever in the which is being published, and the plaintiff thinks that that is made for him and which is defamatory, and that is sufficient to constitute a defamation. Very simple. Okay, or in other words, like when the defendant when the words are considered to be defamatory, So yeah, so when the words are considered to be defamatory by the person to whom such a statement is made, that is sufficient to constitute defamation. Okay, so this was the opinion of the court. Okay, if I think there is a certain statement published against me and I think that that is defamatory and that is made towards me, made for me, then that is sufficient in order to constitute a defamation for me. Okay, that person has committed the defamation against me. Okay, so very simple. So this was the opinion of the court, and it is very simple. So now we will see the defenses for the defamation. What are the defenses? What are the defenses that the defendant can exercise? Okay, now we will see defenses on the part of the defendant. On the part of the defendant. Okay, what are the defenses available in the hands of the defendants? So number one is that a true statement. Okay, justification or truth. Justification or truth. Okay, this is number one. Okay, so in case of the in case of the civil matter, then if the statement is made which is defamatory and that is the true statement, that is the truth, the person making the statement, suppose a person A is a, he is a thief. A is a thief. Okay, and B made a statement that A is a thief. Okay, A is a thief. So here, a statement made by the B is a fact, is a truth, that B is stating the truth. B is not making out of his own. Okay, so since he is stating the truth, so that's why whatever the statement made by the B against A is, a ground of defense which is justifiable, or you can say which is truth. Okay, so B will be immune from the liability. All right, but in case of the criminal wrong, in case of the criminal, civil is truth is defense. Okay, but in criminal case, it like, even if that is a true statement, but the true statement must be made for the public good. Must be made for the public good. So I mean to say here is that, like, suppose there is a criminal. Okay, suppose there is a rapist. Say rapist. There is a rapist, and who is being released, who is about to be released after the conviction, who is about to be released, and he has been a habitual offender. He has been doing all sorts of crimes. So if I make a statement that that person is to be released, that criminal is to be released, so you should be aware, you should be little cautious, you should take care of your family. If I make certain statement about that person, that will be for the public good. Okay, and here he cannot say that, he cannot sue me for the defamation. Okay, so whatever the statement I made, that is for the public good. Okay, and apart from that, so in order to constitute in case of the criminal case, even if the statement made by the person is true, but if it is not serving the public, then that will be no defense. Okay, there will be no defense. But in case of the civil wrong, it is a complete defense. It is a complete defense if it is a true statement, regardless of the malice, regardless of the malice. So what is malice? Even if the person, in case of the civil wrong, if the person make the statement which is truth, but which is derogatory to the plaintiff, then in that case, like, even if the person intentionally does that, but still he will be completely immune from the liability under the civil case. But in case of the criminal case, he will not be. Okay, so the statement made by the defendant must be for the public good. Okay, and in case of the civil, it is not necessary. Okay, simple. And now we'll see another ground. This is number 1 and number 2. Number 2 is fair comment. So what is fair comment? So this defense is generally available to the authors, critics, authors, critics, editors. Okay, so statement made by the critics, authors or editors regarding certain things, so that will be they can take the defense of fair comment. Okay, suppose A published a book. Okay, published a book. So A published a book, and I find that book, and I am a critic. Okay, here I am a critic, and I find that book really unworthy reading. Okay, really unworthy reading, and I say that, this book is such a foolish book. This book is so foolish. Maybe the writer of that book could be very weak person. Okay, so the moment I made that statement, that is derogatory, but that is a fair comment. I made the statement on the basis of the book published by that person. Okay, but instead of that, being a critic, what I did, I'll tell you. But if I say that I am not surprised, that his book is foolish. His book is foolish, and since he is a weak person. So I am not surprised to see that the book is really foolish, and since he is a weak person, I am not surprised to see that his book is so foolish, and since he is a weak person. So by making that statement, that is not a fair comment. I am not making the statement on the basis of the book. I am making the statement about that person's personality, regardless of the content of the book. So that is not a fair comment. Okay, the fair comment should be, fair comment is a defense available in the hands of the author, critics and editors. Okay, where they can criticize certain things. Suppose there is a movie. Okay, movie is being released, and there is a critics. We have seen many critics are there, so they criticizes and everything says. So whatever the criticisms made by them, that will be a fair comment. Okay, but they cannot say anything about the writers of that book, the movie. They cannot say personal things. Okay, if they make personal statement regarding the writers or actors of this movie, then that will be that will be not counted as fair comment. Okay. And number three, that is privilege. So number three, that is privilege. So privilege. So in certain cases, person's reputation is, you can say, right to speech. In certain cases, outweighs the right to reputation. Okay. So in certain cases, the right to speech is, in certain cases, outweighed the right to reputation. Okay. So which means to say that in certain cases the right to reputation is given less important, but the freedom of speech is given more important. Okay, more importance. Okay, like since we have said in the very beginning of the video that the right to reputation is more than a property to a person, more than to his property to a person, and you can say the right person's reputation is his property. Okay, but but in certain cases that principle laid by the court is not will be counted. Okay, so in what are those situations? So then those are like privileges. Okay, there are certain privileges, like, so due to that privilege, the person who is making the statement or defamatory statement about the other person, and which is false, true, regardless, okay, that will be absolutely immune from the liability. Okay, like there are two kind of privileges. Number one, absolute privilege. So absolute privilege, okay. So what is absolute privilege? Like parliamentary privilege or the comment of the court. Parliamentary privilege, parliamentary privilege, court proceeding, and state communication. So yeah, so absolute privileges are like this kind of, like parliamentary privilege, court proceedings, and state communication. Okay, so what is parliamentary privilege? You know it very well, that we have seen in the parliamentary proceeding that the one nature says something about the other, and the other party is saying something which is derogatory to the other person. They are saying everything, okay, without any limitation or without any restriction. They say everything, whether it is true, false, like they don't care anything. What if they are angry about it, they will say everything. So that is the parliamentary privilege, and in that case you cannot ask that person, you cannot hold that person liable for making such a statement, but within parliament only. But outside the parliament, if the person makes such a statement, so that will be as regarded as a defamation. Okay, very simple. So court proceeding, if the court said something, and the state communication, very simple. Okay, so this is the absolute privilege, and another is qualified privilege. So what are the qualified privileges? Qualified privileges, you can say privileges which is So qualified privileges are those kind of privileges. Suppose I am an employer. I am an employer and I have been hiring an employee, and he has been working with me for many years, and now he wanted to leave the job and he want to join some other companies, some other institution. So in that case, I have the privilege to say about him, okay, and it is my responsibility to let the next employer to know about the qualities, qualifications and everything, whether good, bad, everything. It is my responsibility to tell, okay. So that is the qualified privileges, okay. And in case of the defamatory statement made in the newspaper, so that the newspaper which has published the defamatory statement about the about a certain person, the newspaper must have a reason which is good for the public, okay. Without any reason, the newspaper cannot publish anything which is derogatory or which is defamatory, okay. So while publishing any defamatory content about a person, that should be for the public good, okay. And if it is not for the public good, then the newspaper will not be counted as a qualified privileges, okay. That is not qualified privilege. Media has the privilege to speak, and that privilege is qualified privilege, okay. They have to justify themselves by serving the public. If they are promoting something, if they are saying something which is defamatory, then that is the reason must be for the public good, okay, for that publication, okay. And also one more thing is that, if we see our teacher, our parents, they make certain statement about us, that you are so gadha, you're so stupid, you're so foolish, all this kind of a statement. So we cannot sue our parents, our teacher, sue our teacher for the defamation, okay, because they have got the qualified privileges, and whatever they are doing, they are scolding us because for our good, okay. They want us to be a good. So that's why those kind of privileges are qualified privileges. And one more thing which is important here, that the qualified privileges is not so in order to apply the qualified privilege, the person should not have any malice, okay. Person should not be doing those activities with the evil motive, okay. It should always for the good, public good, or good for the person, okay. Very simple. So these are all about defamation. Now we'll see the burden of proof. Whose duty to prove the defamation? So burden of proof. Burden of proof, okay. So suppose in generally in all cases, the burden of proof lies to the person who files the complaint, okay, who makes the complaint. So who makes a complaint in case of the tort? Plaintiff, right? So plaintiff. So in case of the tort of defamation, the burden of proof lies in case of the plaintiff, okay. And when the defendant wants to apply certain justifiable grounds or exceptions like fair command, true statement, or privileges, okay, so in that case the burden of proof lies to the defendant, okay. Defendant. So simple, okay. So these are all about defamation. So guys, that's all for today, and if you find this video helpful, please do hit the like button, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, then please subscribe to my channel. It will just take a few seconds of, not even a second of you. So please subscribe to my channel, and if you have any questions, queries or doubt, you can follow me on Instagram, where you can ask, or you can comment down below. I'll be glad to answer you all. So thank you once again for watching this video. Have a great day, guys.